How you doing, honey? We're
I'm
off.
doing great, honey. How are you?
Awesome.
Excellent.
All right, this is our first one,
Yep.
and this is going to be episode one. And welcome to the McFlare
And Jay?
podcast.
Yes.
So that's us. I'm Jay. That's McFlare, obviously. Jen and Jason. We are going to give a little introduction and let you kind of know who we are and stuff like that, and kind of entice you to maybe come back for a couple stories. We're going to keep putting them out.
That's right, honey. We have lots of hilarious and semi tragic stories in our arsenal, in our relationship, in our history together. And that's really what brings us here is to share that with all of you because, amongst the stories and our experiences, we not only have laughed a lot in hindsight,
Yeah, we have.
but we think we might have some things that might help others.
Oh,
And we'd like to share our journey, and
absolutely.
hopefully, you guys can get some humor, possibly some tears, definitely some prayers, and
Yeah,
most important, get to know us and follow us as we continue our journey together.
absolutely. So a little bit about us and I. Are divorced. We've been divorced for a
Yeah.
few years, but we were obviously married for since 2012 or something like that. Was
No,
it?
we
Met in 2012.
we met in 2012, got married in teen,
Yep.
and got divorced in 2019.
Yep. So we made it a whole 5. But we are best friends. We
Yes.
are soulmates.
Yes,
That
we are.
we we're gonna go through all the reasons why that is and stuff like that. But we just been through so much, and we wanted to share and to kind of give you kind of a weird dynamic of us is that we are best friends. We were married, went through a divorce, went through a lot, and here we are. We're going to share some of that with you.
Yeah, and we went through life and death situations where literally, at different times, thank goodness, we almost died a number of times, and for our own through our own challenges.
Yep.
And now we're kind of on the back end of some of those, as you probably have noticed that no, this beautiful Jew was not self inflicted. Not that I have a problem with that, but I like my long hair. But anyway, I just went through a cancer journey. And it was after that, or now, that we thought it would be an optimal time to, before it got out of our control, kind of bring it to you.
Yeah, I figure that with all the stuff that you've been through and stories like from how we met to how we ended up here today, and kind of just braving ourselves to put ourselves out there and see what happens. So I mean, we're going to talk some stories. How we met. We met at a bar,
Shocker.
shockingly. And actually, it was a bar that we've always gone to, a neighborhood bar. We had an odd journey from the start. We went on one date, and we've been on that one since. But there's been a lot of hiccups in that little road. But
That's true. If you've ever wondered about people that cross your paths or that God brings into your life, and I hate to bring up a cliche, people come into your lives for a moment, season, or
whatever reason,
forever. But it was like, there are so many reasons why I personally feel that our coming together was divine providence, orchestrated directly by the hand of God, because without each other, the chances that either one of us would still be here or at least sane
well,
is
yeah.
is 0 to none.
Yeah, we've been through that racket. I've had my own struggles, obviously with alcohol
They
and
don't know that.
they don't know that, but you will hear those stories about that. But it's gonna, I'm gonna share that about my trouble with alcohol and what it did to our marriage,
Which was the sole cause of our divorce.
and yeah, and what it did to my family and what it did to your family and friends and everything else. So that's something that I will be interjecting on that. But it's ironic that we met at a bar and that the journey has taken us so far away from where we met that, it's not that it would come full circle, but it would, I don't know exactly know how to say it, but
Well, I think part of the full circle is when we met, I was a tragic socialite. And really all I mean by that is I went out all the time. I was working in corporate America, which I still have that role. Okay.
so okay, yeah.
And you never did. You were never
No,
really a bar guy.
I never enjoyed going to the bar ever. I never did. I never really, I liked it. I was just an alcoholic.
Yeah, and I just was a social girl who that's where I went to find people to hang out with, and that's where my group of people went was the bars.
Yeah.
So, and I'm not going to lie, when you live in Minnesota, in our generation, Gen X, you started young. It's winter, the winters. What
Yeah.
did you do? You went in someone's basement and stole some beers from their dad,
Yeah, of course you did. There's a lot more stuff to do. I think that kind of always have gotten an issue with like, oh, there was nothing ever to do. Well, there's always something to do, and you don't always have to drink to have fun, I guess. But that's what we did when we were young. What's that?
I don't know if I agree, but I think it takes some of the sparkle out of life, especially when, you're not in, I'm not going to say a good headspace, but like when your life
Well,
sucks
alcohol
or
ain't a
your
help for
job
that.
fucking sucks, and, you're just like, let's go out and catch a buzz and laugh,
Yeah.
because everything's funnier after a couple of beers. However,
That quickly turns into
that quickly
sadness.
turns into bad decisions and more trouble in a lot of cases. So
hence, it's not really a good answer.
it isn't, but it isn't.
But we all did it. We all went through that where you're always partying, and we got plenty of stories. You're gonna hear about them. They're funny. They're dumb because we've done stupid things, but it's just kind of how you come out on the other end of it. It's kind of where we're going to get to a lot of this stuff, and especially with Jen's medical journey. She's going to provide you with a lot of helpful hints, some experience, some knowledge that she's learned along the way from others, her own research, this stuff that she is going to share with you. And it's, it's very valuable. Might not all be personally to you, but out there, these are all good things, and they're not.
Yeah, I mean, my journey will help those who have had loved ones or themselves if they've gone through some of these same medical things. If, other people who are struggling to get sober or who have gotten sober and have not found the joy that comes with sobriety, because it is the big change in your life.
Yeah, it is.
In general, especially in both the transplants and the cancer, I've done a ton of research, and there's a lot of things that people just aren't being told by their medical professionals.
And now you just told them that you have transplants.
Yes.
Because we're new at this, so the information is going to kind of come out in odd ways. There's a lot of it, but that is one of the things that was not mentioned previously.
Yeah, I've had a kidney pancreas transplant in 2017. I was a lifelong type 1 diabetic, and, just probably through much of my lifestyle and other things, we have a 30-year-old son who was around before Jason was around, but that caused.
Shout out dairy.
Yeah, shout out to dairy. That took a toll on my kidneys, the pregnancy, and so on and so forth. And then medical mistakes. That just reminds me of another one, just talking about dairy. There's lots of things that we will discuss and talk about. May be relevant to you, may not be, but in hindsight, it's stupid and hilarious when you think back on it. Like, yeah, I was told this,
And it's kind of interesting now since you've been dealing with this so long. So, quick backstory to fill in a couple gaps. Jen has been a diabetic or was a diabetic since 21 months, right?
Yes.
And up till her transplants. And then that whole story, and you'll hear all about that. So, she's been dealing with it for a long time, medical stuff. And to hear some of the transitions of how it's changed over the years and just things that Jen's noticed. I mean, you've dealt with it way more than I have, obviously, but just how you've noticed things. That'll be an interesting perspective too
Yeah.
that you'll get, and it'll be nice too, if you can get somebody to just kind of maybe pick up a thing here and there. I think Jen has a lot of good information about teas and health benefits on some food, and good cleaning products and all these things, kind of like little hacks that she's found from her research. She wanted better products, more information, more control over some things, and she found things that work for her. So she'll share that, and hopefully that'll be something that you guys could, take to heart or whatever. I'm not a professional podcaster, but I'm doing all right.
But this is more about us, how we got through all of this together. And, the difficult road traveled, not by any real choice of our own. Yes, sure, you could argue that choices we made might have led to whatever. I mean, if you were to want me to speak for the record, stress from my corporate job gave me cancer, and can I prove that? No. But can I say that, sing it from the mountains? You're damn right. Because I was already on immunosuppression drugs from the transplant. It's like I can't
Yeah.
fight the stress of this shit off. And we all hate our jobs. And maybe we'll talk about some of the funny things at our jobs, how it relates to our lives and our suffering in this life.
I think it all plays into that, where it's like, whether it's your medical history, what you're going to have a lot to share, our job stuff, the stress things, the, faith,
The good
everything.
things.
Yeah. They're, put it this way, every decision that we made has led us here, and it's just part of life. And you look back at it, and, it's like you try to make the best ones you can when you're in the moment. And you obviously learn more as life goes on, so you can make better ones as you're older, hopefully. But those are things that I think you're going to hear, and we've got a lot of.
Yeah, we got a lot of stories.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what would you like to talk about now? Well, let's see if I tried. But yeah, you just kind of a couple notes and stuff. We're going to talk about some music and bands, and Jen has a good idea about finding some bands. I got a good idea. Our neighbor just told us about some new guy, some music to listen to. We're going to share those kinds of things.
Yeah, I mean, we're just gonna let's talk about, why don't you tell folks what your passions are? I mean, we all got to work for a living, right? And 90% of us
Yeah.
probably don't work in our passion. But why don't you start by?
Yeah. Well, for me, I mean, I would guess you could say I'd be an artist as a general, because my interests are arts and history and music. I paint and do all those kind of things. But
Guitar.
yeah, I play guitar. I've recorded some fun songs and stuff like that. Maybe I'll put one out here for fun and see what happens. But those are the kind of things I do. I like traveling, spending time gardening with Jen. We've created this amazing oasis in the back, and you will see that in an episode before the winter hits. It's beautiful. If you can hear the dog barking in the back, that's Caesar.
Yeah. He's a problem child. We rescued him and tried to give him a better life in our forever family, and he has taken full advantage.
Yes, he is. Okay. I don't know. I can't tell if I can hear him or not. Anyways, but yeah, so those are some of the things I like to do. I mean, the Oasis has been great, the traveling, learning some new stuff. I mean, I'm kind of a homebody, so I like kind of just thinking about stuff, doing little creative things, having fun. I'm not that into.
Well, I disagree.
Thank you, honey.
And I'm similar on the other side. I am a voracious learner. I love learning new things. If I'm not learning something new, I am bored. And even if I never use it again, and I don't want to say it's great that I got cancer. But, in a lot of ways, I learned a lot of things that I've shared with just my friends and family that is going to help them hopefully avoid the big C word. It's like,
Or how to deal with it if it, God forbid, but if it ever happens. I mean, there are ways to deal with it too. So that's, yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, it's like I went back. So COVID hit, and I worked for a big bank, and I'm like, I had just gotten the transplants, and I had the gift of stranger donation, if you will. I didn't know who my donor was, and it's a tragic loss for a family. I've written them letters, just stating how grateful I am for the decision that the person or the family made that has me here today with you, and I feel, I felt I had to set a higher level goal just to God even, because obviously, and as a Christian, I believe that God chose the person to be taken home in order to keep me here. And I wouldn't say I had survival guilt, but I take that very deeply to heart. And, it's
Well,
like
what would you call that though? Because it's kind of
well, it
it's
is
about
survivor.
that. I
It
mean,
is
in
survivor
that
guilt.
because you did have a hard time with that younger here, and someone's not.
Well, and the only way to overcome that, whether it's a car accident with you and your family or you and your friends, and you might be the only survivor, that is weight that people carry. Um, or you catch the same virus and the husband dies and the wife survives. I mean, it's just like,
Yeah.
how God, how do you decide, and we'll never know those answers. All I can do is say that God
I mean, we
chose.
will know the
Well,
answer,
we will, correct.
but we
Not,
won't be able to share it
well, and not
in the way that we
necessarily,
think you can.
we won't know it when we need it, when we believe we need to know it. Like now, like, how do I get over, or
Yeah.
whatever.
Just
It's
hang
like,
in there. Jesus has you.
yeah, exactly. And like sometimes even I get pissed about that. It's like, I want to know.
Well, I mean,
And
that's
Lord, give me the knowledge that I'm seeking, and all you got to do is ask. But my point about the someone losing their life to save mine is, it's like I am living in their honor now, literally
yeah.
because of them. And so I try to conduct my life, and I'll tell you, I don't do well all the time, but I do my best to, just try to live a life that not only would make them proud, but God. It's like God chose out of the two of us. I was the one that stuck around because of that loss, and I need to I feel compelled to honor that life. Every year when we celebrate on the transiversary, thank you, Sue. My friend Sue came up with that.
Thank you, Sue.
I always take a moment to talk about the person, the family, the loss. On this day where we're celebrating, and
But it's an interesting aspect of how you look at life and death too. It's why was it changed, from her to you, and that's the mystery. That's how it is. Jesus has that plan. But what you've done and try to accomplish many times over since you received the transplant has been amazing.
thank you.
I mean, you're going to get in depth later on with these things, but yeah, you went back to school. You'll fill everybody in. You can claim all the stuff because it's impressive. I mean, really knocked it out of the park. Fighting, jobs, helping me do things, getting stuff taken care of with me. I mean, like we forget that just life in general is something that goes on. So, sometimes you're in a bad mood or it's like, whatever, so who steps in and like, hey, well, let's get a pizza or something, just hang out and we'll watch a movie, it'll be fine. Or whatever. So Jen takes care of that too. So there are those things that aren't just quote unquote medical mysteries or danger or whatever. It's just sometimes it's just life stuff that adds up. But what you've done balancing all that stuff and taking care of that, now wanting to start this, and we'll explain how this started coming to fruition, but you're really doing a good service for what this is about, like
Yeah.
taking on.
And I'm a talker. I just love to chit chat, talk, lecture, whatever. It's like I honestly, since starting cancer, full packed social life has gone down to almost nothing, and I think this is a way for me to talk about stuff. So, a friend will call to check in on me and they're like, I just called to check on you, how you're doing. And I'm like, I'm getting comfortable. We're
Yeah.
gonna talk and like, like we're out to
Yeah.
lunch, and they're like, well, I gotta go to bed, and it's
Yeah.
like, so it's just a platform for me to again, share some things that were helpful through my medical journeys, but more important, to celebrate relationships. I mean, we are decided at the confusion of everybody on both sides of our lives when we came together. People were like, "Are you sure? Are you sure?"
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like, nobody thought it was a good idea. Like, let's just
I
be
was
real.
warned on both sides
And
about this.
yeah, no one said a word
With
to
love.
me.
With love. I mean, it was warned with love.
Yeah, I mean, I had a couple of friends say, "Are you sure? Are you really sure this is what you want?" Because
They were just jealous.
perhaps, but
I'm kidding.
I think that, again, it was meant to be. I mean, we went straight into it, and he was there when I almost died not the first time, but in our relationship,
Yeah.
the first time, after witnessing a possible, I mean, it just
Yes.
goes on and on. And the thing about it is, I have friends who had us in a dead pool, divorce pool, and they still can't believe that we're still together, even though, we're divorced.
Yep. Those are people that just didn't make the mark on that one.
Well, and they don't get it, I think. Like sometimes you go through things with people, and it doesn't have to be spouses
No.
but you experience some really big things in each other's lives or together in both your lives. It's like there is just nobody else who knows you in those moments better than those people. And what's sad about that is when that happens and it's bad, those are sometimes the hardest people to quote get over, or the loss of those people keep you trapped in something, where we were never trapped. We got divorced, and he went through treatment, which he'll tell that story later. And like immediately when he was done, it was like I was all over him, kind of, even. It's like, all right, what's your first goal? He's like, I gotta get out of my dad's basement. And I'm like, well, how do you do that? I need a job. All right, let's get on that. Like you, he needs to do it, but and
And
then
I did it.
and then he did that, and then it's like, all right, so you've got the job. Now you need to save, right? You to get out of your
Well, it
dad's.
didn't actually go in that direction, but yes, yes, I did. Yeah, there was some game planning and things that you helped out with, and got it. It kind of helped out with getting things set when we looked at apartments and everything. So these are the kind of things that we're talking about. Like that is going on at the same time as she's dealing with something else, or that's going on in my life at the same time. You know what I mean? It's those things that we could keep going there for each other. We keep coming back to help
Yeah,
out.
and it's just like you just can't go through these literal life-altering events with someone, and at least in our experience, and not just have utter love for them. I mean, without you, I wouldn't be alive. Without me, you might not be alive,
Yeah, that right.
and it's like, even if we were to have moved on from being with each other, it's like I would have, without hesitation, said to my new fella or whatever, I'm never not going to be friends with him, you know? And if that makes you uncomfortable, or if that makes you, I'm sorry, because preferably I'd love you to love him too, because he is an integral part of who I am today. We have been through so much. It's not somebody I can just casually move on from, but I can.
No, but you're working at it at a steady pace.
No,
I'm just kidding. See, we are going to take the light side of lots of
yeah.
things, and
Well, he
that is
drives
something
me
I do.
nuts
Oh, this is true.
sometimes.
This is very true.
And vice versa. We're just like a married couple. We have the benefit, though, of not living together. And I would say that to every married couple. If you are struggling in your marriage, like get your own rooms for a while. Like sleep in
Yep.
your own rooms for a bit, and you'll realize how much
Only if you need to.
appreciate.
Some people can
Yeah.
do it just fine.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But um, I don't know how long this has been going. So
Doesn't it say it right there? 29 minutes, 25 minutes?
yeah, go at 25 minutes. So yeah, we're doing good. We're doing good on time.
Yeah.
But I think yeah, that's one of those interesting things that we're going to put together. I'm probably saying interesting a lot because I'm trying to come up with a word. But,
Killer.
yeah, it's that we're sometimes you might just hear us just jibber jabbing away about some God knows what. But, I mean, we have so many interests and hilarity things that we come up with that, we just wanted to share this and we can get into some stories. So I don't know if this is going to get into depth here, but one pretty funny story is that, can I tell the Savannah call, the park one?
Which one? Yeah.
Yeah, the
Go.
park one. So this is just a cute story and it's not in any particular order, but it's a super cute.
We
So
were on our honeymoon
we were
in
on our
Savannah,
honeymoon.
Georgia.
we were on our honeymoon in Savannah, Georgia, and we were both ill. We were both sick and stuff like that. But we made the best of it. I had a great time.
I had a great time. Yeah.
But one of the things is that when we were going to go downtown, and we love history so much, and we were like, oh, we're going to go to these parks and this where they had the what was it, the yellow fever or something like that. It was like 1600s,
Yeah, and I'm
1700s
obsessed with
cemeteries.
cemeteries and like the oldest ones. So when I used to travel with my son, it was like take us to the oldest cemetery in the city or whatever. And I know that sounds morbid and shit, but I have a
Yeah, that looks
really
kind of cool.
but I have a really I am gonna say unusual take on death. I don't think it's death. And yes, we grieve and it's sad and all of that. I'm not taking anything away from the process of when someone dies,
Of course.
but that's the end of this bullshit.
Yeah.
That's for me on to the best,
Yeah.
on to paradise. And so I'm I look at it as a celebration. You made it, and yes, is it tragic? Yes, is it horrible when children die? Yes, when your spouse has something happen, but I don't process it badly and negative. I that's what we're shooting for. Us Christians anyway. It's like that's the final destination, not the horror.
Right. So anyways, so we're going through the travel guide, or it was a map or something, right? And so there it was, there's a cemetery downtown. It's an old one. And Jen got so excited that she was like, oh my goodness, we are definitely going to Colonials Park.
And he's like, where?
I'm like, where?
I'm like, Colin Neal's Park.
Colonials
It's
Park.
famous.
It's It's old.
famous.
It's the oldest one. And I'm like, who the hell is Colonial? And then she's like, no, look it's right here. It's right on the way. And she showed me, because of course there was about 5 other things that she was showing me at the same time that we were going to go do. And I'm like, oh, you mean colonial? She's like, yeah, that's what I meant.
Yeah.
Which I could tell that it was just a funny thing because she was super excited and running around. She'll just kind of blurt out whatever kind of fits into the
Yes,
mold
I
at
make
the
up
time.
words all the time.
So anyways, that was pretty cute.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we'll share like silly things like that whatever. We got plenty of these things.
Yeah. Yes, and we'll leave you with this thought for, hopefully you'll check back because you want to hear about this, but on that same trip, we almost got kidnapped and probably would have been murdered. And that's the second time because when we got engaged in New Orleans,
We almost got
we
kidnapped
almost
there,
got
too.
kidnapped and could have been killed then too. So, we have all kinds of juicy stories where it's like, if it wasn't for our guardian angels, I don't know what would have happened.
I tell you, but well, there'll be more to come. That's for sure. Want to end us with maybe a little
Yeah.
prayer, blessing, something?
I would. I would like to just say, Heavenly Father, we want to say thank you for this day, for the breath that we have to breathe, the legs we have to walk, and for all the blessings that you give us each day. And we pray that your grace and mercy hits all of you out there watching us as well. So in Jesus' holy name, we pray. Amen.
Amen. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.